channel. So today's video, I am basically going to talk about the building process of our home. We had a house build a year ago, new construction, and I thought it'd be a great idea, as you see from my previous videos, to kind of make a house to home series and talk about the process, getting approved, making a list, you know, trying to make the decision whether you should rent or own. And I also want to do some room tours as well, but I wanted to get the whole home buying process out there first. So in this video, I'm just gonna go over from the time we sat down with the builder to the day we did our final walkthrough. Okay, so very first step was we decided on the builder. We sat down with them, we decided we wanted to make that step, and so they showed us a map of the community, and at the time they only had maybe like 10 homes built, so it was fairly new. It was in what they call phase 1, and they showed us the map, asked us where did we want to build our house, which lot did we want. Some lots, mind you, we live in a golf course community, and those homes, those lots where the golf course is, they're called premium lots. So you had to pay a premium for those lots, and we're talking $30,000-$40,000 additional to your house to have it built on those lots. Anyway, so of course that was, you know, we didn't need that. We were not trying to pay that much money to have a golf course view. So we picked out our lot, and we had, at that point, once we decided we wanted to make a move, we had to put down a deposit. Now, different builders, the majority of them that we went to, they all were the same amount as far as deposits were concerned, and that was $5,000. But a lot of times the builders are running specials. They have, you know, special incentives, and depending on what phase they're in, or if they're just running a special for that month. So for us at that time, we were told that our deposit was $2,500. That was to reserve our lot, okay? Meaning if anyone else came through and saw that lot and said, hey, we like that, they could not get it because we have now reserved it, okay? Okay, so we paid our deposit, we signed a purchase agreement, which was roughly maybe 20 pages. And it's just basically talking about the construction process, basically an agreement saying we agree to let you build our home on this particular lot. It had the address on there. It talked about the price, it talked about the cancellation process and all of those things. As far as down payment, the down payment overall was $10,000 for us, okay? So, but you didn't have to pay it all at once. So you pay your $2,500 down, and then what they did was they gave you, I think it was 3 or 4 months to pay the balance, okay? And I'm sure they would work with you with that, because this was in January. Our house was not finished until June. Okay, so you have that time, but just to break it down, they gave us the time frame of within 3 months we had to pay the balance. Okay, so once we decided all of that, we signed the form, we gave our check. We then set up an appointment to meet with the same home advisor, okay? She was the sales rep for the builder. And I wanted to touch on real estate agents. We did not have a real estate agent. Not to say that that's right or wrong. I mean, to each his own. We just didn't have one, okay? In case someone was wondering, we did not have a real estate agent. I do advise anyone, if you do want to work with the real estate agent and you're looking to buy new construction, they do have real estate agents that specialize in that. And I can't remember the license description for the acronym, but just Google it. Google new construction real estate agents, because apparently they have a little more expertise in that field than your normal real estate agent. I also advise, if you're going to use an agent, to either bring the agent with you the very first time you go to the community. So even if you're just going and you're looking around, it is best to bring your agent with you, or to already have an agent. And what happens is they have a sign-in sheet. You write down your name, and they'll have their on to the side ask if you are working with an agent. That is when you put your agent information down. It is very important that you do one or the other, because if you come in, you sign in, you're talking to the sales rep, and then later on you decide to get an agent, they are not going to cover your agent's fee. Okay, the whole purpose of having your agent up front, or writing down that you are working with the agent and providing their information, the builder pays the agent, okay? And they're basically paying them with the thought that the agent brought you to the builder, okay? Because the agent's job is to find homes for you. So the thought is that the agent introduced you to this builder. And so as a result, the builder pays the real estate agent's fee. But only if you have an agent from day one. You can't come in later and say, oh yeah, I know I've been here before, I know I signed up and I talked to you guys, but here I have an agent. It doesn't work like that, so keep that in mind. But anyway, so after we've done all of that, then we had to set up an appointment with the same, I call her home advisor, home sales rep, with the builder. You have to set up an appointment, which was the following week, okay? At that appointment is when we sat down and we talked about the structural things that we wanted in the house. Like right after, we're talking a week in, we are picking out light fixtures and things like that. We picked out our plan, the house that we wanted, the floor plan that we wanted, and things like each plan has options within, okay? So for example, our house had different options for a bathroom. So every house comes with a basic package, okay? Then that's when you get into upgrading. So for us, the bathroom, we went with the basic because a lot of times the way the bathrooms were configured, it affected how your closet was going to be, and I wanted a his and hers closet. So had we went with other bathroom options, there was one where our bathroom was going to be inside, our closet, it was going to be a joint closet inside of the bathroom, and I did not want that. I figured later on we can always change the tub shower combo, which is what we did 2 weeks ago, and I'll show you guys that. But anyway, so when you're sitting down, your first appointment, as far as after you've reserved your lot, you are looking at appliances, you're looking at the kitchen layout, because they have different kitchen packages, and it's basically how the cabinets are staggered, if you want a double oven, things like that. Those are the type of things you are picking out at this appointment. This is a weekend. And then they create an account for you, and well, they did for us. And what happened, you can go on there and change things. So if at the meeting we decided we wanted to go with this lighting package, and then later on it's like, I don't like that, I want this lighting package, you can go online and pull up your account and you can change these things, and it'll have pictures on there as well. But there was a cutoff point, so I think we had, I want to say, a month. It was either 3 weeks or a month that we had time to change things around, because we had 2 appointments within that month with the same person, and I believe they gave you 3 weeks if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so after the 3 weeks, that was it. You could no longer make any more changes as far as those things were concerned. And another thing too was picking out if we wanted additional outlets, where we wanted the outlets located in the house. So I mean, it gets to the nitty-gritty like that, because again, the house comes with a certain amount of outlets, And if you want additional, of course there's more money. You have to tell them where you want it and things like that. That was actually the second appointment. Anyway, so there is a cutoff point because they have to start drawing up the blueprint for your house. And after they do that, they have to send it to the township to get permits for these things. Okay, everything requires a permit. So they can't have you changing things up, you know, up until the day they build. No, they have the cutoff because someone has to draw up the plans, and of course, you know, send things off the permits, and maybe have to go back and forth with that. So at our second meeting with the same home advisor, that is when we were picking out electricals and additional outlets and things like that, and finalizing everything, because like I said, there was a cutoff. Asking things like if we wanted a finished basement, if we wanted a bath powder room in the basement. So all of those things you are literally picking out, and it can become overwhelming because, you know, when we were going to open houses, we were just used to walking into a house, everything was there, and there was some things you say, oh, okay, I may want to change this and maybe want to change that. But no, you are literally, yes, you have the basic floor plan, but little tedious things like you wouldn't even think you would need 3 additional outlets in the garage, like, which we did not figure out until later on, but I digress. Things like additional cable outlets and phone outlets and all of that, and where you want it. So anyway, once we got to the final step in that, and it was a cutoff. Now the home advisor that we dealt with was wonderful. She was wonderful because let me tell you, I was changing my mind. I was getting nervous about things, and I was, and you know, she gave me her cell phone number. I would text her like, oh my God, can we change this? Do we have time to change that? And she was so patient and so sweet. She would say, hey, okay, I got it. Send me an email later saying I changed this. I would go on to our online account and saw that she did make the change. She was wonderful. So we got to the point where we have met the threshold where we could no longer make the changes, because now they were getting ready to draw up the plan and send it on to get the permits. During this time, we are dealing with the mortgage lenders, trying to, you know, submitting paperwork to them and trying to get, you know, everything squared away with that. And those people were wonderful. Oh my gosh, the mortgage company that we dealt with, residential mortgage company, they were the mortgage broker. They were phenomenal. I mean, nothing and no one is perfect, but if there was such thing as close to perfection, they were it. So that's further down the line. But anyway, during the time we are dealing with them as well. So now we have to make an appointment with the design center. The design center is where you go and you're picking out colors. Okay, so you've already picked out structural things. Now you're at the design center, you're picking out your carpet, you're picking out your countertops, your cabinets, your backsplash if you want it. You can, at this point, you can change light fixtures, things like that. Yeah, so we were able to go what they call a wasn't a walkthrough, but basically where you could just go walk through, kind of look at things without an appointment, just to get a feel of what's there, maybe get some ideas. Then you're setting your appointment where you actually go and sit down with the design center rep, and she has your information, your file, and she's sitting down and going through these things. So when we went there, it was pretty exciting, and you saw other families, other couples there, other homeowners, and you know, you're talking and you're comparing, and oh, I like that, no, I like that too. So you know, it was pretty exciting there, but it was overwhelming because you're looking at things that are like an 8 by 10, okay, and you're trying to picture this in a large space. So again, it can be a little overwhelming because I think our appointment was 3 hours, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why 3 hours is sticking in my head. Maybe 4 hours. But yeah, so you're trying to make this decision, and I tend to go back and forth. I would like something and I'm like, no, let me go check it out. Let me see it in this light. Let me compare it to that's how I am. And my husband is just pretty much like, whatever you want is fine. You know, he just is like, whatever. One thing he had to have, and that was the backsplash. Go figure. And the most, well, not the most expensive, but one of the most expensive backsplash there was, which once I show you guys, I mean, I think we could have did a DIY, but I digress. Anyway, so we're picking out these things and we're trying to compare it and put it together, and she's jotting everything down, she's making changes, you're picking out your house color, and I think that was the most stressful. And I told myself that whenever we buy a house, whether it was building or resale, I wanted something different. I didn't, because I'm always going with neutral, and we ended up with a neutral color house. But anyway, so yeah, so we went through the design center, picked out everything, she put it together. Any upgrades you were getting done at that time, she was added in on. So keep in mind, when you walk in there, you already have the base price of your house. You already have the upgrades that you picked out when you met with the home advisor. Now you're at the design center where there's more upgrades. Okay, so this stuff is constantly adding up along the way. All right, so keep that in mind. So we picked out everything. She wrote it up, typed it up rather, and that was it. She gave us our slip. Are you good? Is everything good to go? Because at this point, there is no going back and forth with her. It was, this is what you picked out. That's it. Okay. So we were done with that. And then it's funny because we realized the window casings, of course, I'm thinking like, who would have thought that that was an upgrade? But it was. And I don't know how we figured out later on that, oh my gosh, we need window casings. That's, you know. Anyway, they were able to go back and add that to our plan, which was great. But yeah, so once the design, after we left the design center, all of that was done. And then I think another month went by and we were contacted by the construction manager. Now, mind you, at this time, we are, let's see, we started in January. By this time, we're in March, like around the end of March. So we get a call from the construction manager, and he's basically saying, hey, I'm your construction manager. I'm going to be overseeing the building of your home. I need to make an appointment so you guys can come in. We can go over your blueprint, your plan of your house, and I'll give you a schedule of what's going to be going on throughout the building of your home. Okay, so we made an appointment. Everything was done at the model home, which was right across the street, is right across the street from our house now. So we met with the construction manager. He basically went over everything we picked out with the home advisor and with the design center rep. Went through all of that. And we ended up adding some things with him, like some outlets that I was like, okay, I didn't think we forgot about that, but yeah, can you add outlet here and outlet there? And so he was able to do that. Now, if you are adding things after the design center appointment, if you're adding things after that, depending on what it is and they're able to allow it, you have to write a check then and there. So I think we added like 3 outlets and a phone jack and a cable outlet or something, and I had to write checks that day, okay, and give it to the construction manager. So anyway, he went over everything. He gave us a list of, it was a schedule. So it was a schedule from the day they were building, what was going to be done, the company that was going to be doing it. I mean, it was just every week who was going to be doing what, and it was great. It was great. It was very assuring because we lived up the street from our house now, and so every week my husband, depending on what they were doing, my husband would come by the house and check on it and make sure, and they were on schedule. I mean, they did not miss a beat. We closed on the day they said the house was going to be done. So Anyway, so we met with him, went over everything. We signed off saying, hey, we met with him. Everything sounds good. We're moving forward. Now to say that the house went without, the process went without any hiccups, it did. Okay, so there were issues where the workers will leave the windows open, and we would have like bad rainstorms, and so therefore the inside would get wet. We would have to contact the construction manager like, hey, you know, we're not trying to be dealing with mold and mildew when we move in, because you don't know what type of work they're doing. So if the floor is wet, like they're on a schedule, so if the inside and the drywall and all that's wet, we didn't want them coming in and trying to work over that, and now you're sealing in moisture. Okay. We had an issue where somebody unplugged the sump pump in our basement. This was drywall and concrete, okay, and water collected, and of course I had to fit, so I'm emailing, I'm like, you need to cut out that drywall, you need to start all over in that basement, because I cannot, you know. And they did, they apologized, and they did everything. Of course, we would go by there, and just so happened my husband went by there and went in the house, and that's how we found out that the sump pump was unplugged and water was collecting. But anyway, so again, during this time, we're still dealing with the mortgage company. We're still submitting documentation as they requested. So all in all, we met with the construction manager again to do the walkthrough, and this was the walkthrough as far as like the framing. The frame was up. I don't think the shingles were, not the shingles, the siding wasn't up yet, but the house itself, the structure was up. So we came in and walked through to see the plans and everything. And I mean, when you have the frames up and the studs, I can't make heads or tails of what is what, but we did the walkthrough. They explained everything still, and yeah, and that was it. So at this time, we're just waiting. We have submitted everything to the mortgage company, and we were just waiting for the house to be finished. Now, the house process, as far as building, does not take 6 months. It's not. They didn't start in January. They started building our house in April, and it was done by June. Now, I know you hear all the time, oh, these, what they call them, matchbox houses or stick figure houses, whatever. Yeah, understand, you have several companies working on your house at the same time. So you have a company that comes and do the framing, and either later that day or the next day you got another company coming in doing your roofing, another company coming in doing your drywall. Sometimes they're working together. So it's not like you have just this one construction company that's doing your entire house and they're doing it in 2 months. No, it is different companies coming in, and they are working on your house every day except for weekends. And I think even on the weekends they were doing like the painting and drywall and things like that, like, you know, the finishing touches. But they are working on your house every single day. So when you have all these different companies working on your house, you know, at the same time, it can be done in 2 months. Okay, so I mean, yeah, it was 2 months. But the final walkthrough, so we got our closing date, and the closing date, they communicated with the builder to say, hey, this is the closing date. Will the house be finished? Whatever. So we scheduled all of that. We came in. We actually had our final walkthrough the day we closed. So that morning we stopped by the house and we walked through any things that we noticed. We pointed it out to them. They were going to work on it that day. We weren't actually moving until the following week. But things that we saw, like a little dirt mark on the carpet, some drywall paint work that, you know, they had to fix, but it was nothing major at all. Nothing major. Everything looked perfect at the time. So that was it. We did our walkthrough. They, you know, talked and showed us how everything worked and all of that. We left and we went straight to the builder's mortgage company to finalize everything and the close on our house, and we signed thousands of documents, gave them our check, and they gave us our keys, and that was it. We went shopping that same day. So that is it. That is the process. There is a period of downtime where you're not talking to anyone really. They're building your house, and you have the schedule, so you know exactly what they're doing on what day and what week. I highly suggest, if you can, to go and check out the progress as they go along. Look at the schedule. So when they say they're pouring the concrete, go out there, or the foundation and the footings, go out there and check that out. When they are saying they're putting up the frame, or they're doing anything major, go to the house and check it out and see if they in fact did it. Just to check it out for yourself. So anyway, guys, that is our process. That was our process as far as the whole building the house, from the time we sat down and picked out our lot to the time we did our final walkthrough. I hope it was informative. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, take care.